Hey, this is Empress Zinga, and this featured section is all about artist Peeps, and we are going to be standing and chatting with the man himself, Robert, the passion poet Gibson. GineOn?
Hey, good. We're going on.
You decided to come up with this term, passion poet. Now, tell me where that came from.
When I started writing poetry, I went through a couple years where it was just writing poetry and putting it under my bed. And then somebody mentioned open mics to me. And it was like, let me say, I had a hallelujah moment. I wasn't sure. I'd never heard about open mics before. And I started to go. First, I'd never heard about DJ before. Some people actually never heard about DJ before. Wow. Anyhow, at that point in time, I'd never heard about him before. So I was only going about the poetry. And I started to follow him. So wherever he went, wherever I knew he was having a gig or anything, I was going to go. Eventually, it moved from open mics to him and Adrian doing Ross, the Raw Tyrant, their Raw Tyrant group, and the Raw Tyrant group was being held at the Ayakobi Center, and the Ayakobi Center was the place where they started to do open mics there as well. At that point in time, I was starting to come out of my shell and do do poetry on stage a little bit more. But what they didn't know was that I was intensely passionate about everything I did. So so there were times, because I lived close by to the location, that they would come and open. They would come to open. I'd be sitting at the step like, hey! And so because it was like that, what actually started happening was that whenever it came to them introducing me, it would be, hey, come introducing Robert Gibson. He's really passionate about his poetry. Fast forward a little bit, all the writers, the poets and writers, yourself included, myself, a couple other people became the League of Extraordinary Poets, and we had this section where somebody said, if you had to make your gift, you had to write about your gift like a superpower, how would you write it? Write it as a poem. And so, everybody started coming up with these superpower names. And I thought about the fact that I am passionate about everything I do. And the fact that I'm passionate about women and words. And so Passion Poet was born from that. And that's why every time I do my first poem, whenever I perform, it's my introduction from that time. And it always starts, I have the power of the heart, and that goes on. And that's where Passion Poet came from, the actual name itself.
No. As you were saying before, you started off with your open mics and you penned the name Passion Poet, really and truly because you're passionate.
Everything.
But now you are now more so known for erotica, writing poetry, writing prose, because now you have your first novel about erotica. How has the response been writing like that for a Bajan audience?
All right, well, when talking about the books, in terms of what you said, I have 5 books totally. There are 4 books of poetry and the novel. There's erotic, there is seduction, there is offering, and there is quotes of passion. Those are the 4 books of poetry. And then you're going to Make It Rain, which is the novel. Erotica is something that Bajans, I find, don't like to. They seem not to be. They don't like to own up to it in public, right? So they don't like to own up to it in public. So I find that a lot of them seem like they hide away and they come to me one-on-one. They say they like it. I've had people say to me, I like your work, but I can't follow it. I can't follow you on Facebook. Because I'm a teacher and I got children that follow me or whatever the case is. But it's starting to pick up. Actually, I have just come from Day's bookstore yesterday, and I had a interview with Derry Boyne, and because I had an excerpt, I read a small excerpt which was radio friendly. Okay. It was radio friendly, so it wasn't a sex scene, and I And I did it for the radio, and what I heard was that people were calling. People seem to be very interested in the book since I did that interview. So we'll see how sales pick up after that. But the Bajan audience is seemingly conservative, but some of them actually come out and like the work. What is actually happening, you talk about Bajan audience, but what's happening is that my book is blowing up in Kenya at this moment.
Wow.
I've been talking to people on Facebook who are like, how do I get my book? How do I get this book? How do I get this book? And so I've been sending some Facebook links to people in Kenya who actually want me to come and perform. So I have no idea. I gotta figure out money, sponsorship, help me out. Anyhow. But yes, I need to find ways to get into Kenya. But Kenya is blowing up right now with my novel.
Now, you've just come off of doing a panel discussion here actually at the University of the West Indies in the bookshop, and you were speaking about erotica inside of the bookstores here in Barbados, erotica as it is represented. Could you tell us who was on the panel, how the audience, if they were interactive, and all the good news?
Okay, well, it was moderated. It was moderated by Naila Imoja. The panelists included Shara Antoinette, Mariposa, Robert E. Sandiford, and myself.
That's another Robert.
Yes, another Robert. Yeah, so we had to go between Gibson and Sandiford when we were speaking. And it was a very interactive session. The audience was engaging. It was really fun. I really enjoyed it. And immediately afterwards, doing the post-mortem, UE is like, okay, come back again. You need to do it again in February. So February being Love Month, stuff like that. So yeah, that's my next plan for them. I would say it was informative. It was like we talked about erotica and pornography being two sides, or let's say, of a spectrum. Not that they're separate, but they're distinct, but not necessarily separate, and it slides from one to the other. But it was interesting. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I really want to do it again.
You have been pushing out some poetry books, and then you delved into more now prose. Everybody would know Make It Rain. Your fans would know about Make It Rain. Could you tell us a little bit about the process of writing the book and the story behind it?
All right, process. I will tell you this. I see myself as a literary voyeur. I see my characters interacting with one another, and I'm in the bushes and writing down everything that I see. Yes. That is literally my process. I created the male character Rain, created the female character Jasmine, and then I saw them have sex, and I thought, oh shoot, I should be writing this down. That is how the book started. So, in terms of what the book is about, it is not autobiographical. It is not autobiographical.
You've got that question?
Yes, over and over again. It is not me. Rain is not me. Okay, good. So, Rain is a performance poet. Hence, I guess, where the question comes from. But Rain is a performance poet who likes to get very physical with his fans. Okay. And literally, it starts off with the fact that he's got one of his fans pregnant. Oh. So the whole thing, you get dropped right into the drama immediately, because the whole purpose of the book is he's got one of his fans pregnant. Obviously, he has to decide, will he become a father, or will he continue to be selfish, only think about himself and his career, really. And the whole, if you look at the cover of the book, I don't actually have one with me, but if
we'll put it in for you.
Yeah, but if you have the cover, you can see the anger between the two characters, right? And that is why I made the book that way. And yeah, so I mean, the whole book is basically about him having to decide, to come to that realization. When I wrote it, I had one thing in mind. I had no idea what my plot was going to be, but I had one thing in mind. It should be what I called a redemption story, a coming of age story, a maturation story, where he comes to a place where he has to mature. Either mature or not mature, because you don't know necessarily if it's going to have a happy ending or not. But my point is, he has to come to a place where he has to think, and I did achieve that with that book. So I'm very happy with it. Now working on part 2, and in part 2, Well, let me first say that I did not expect to do a standalone. I did not expect to do a series. It was going to be a standalone until my fans were like, what happens next? I'm like, oh God, really? So I had to actually start thinking what happens next. So I'm not going to give away too much, but Rain becomes or continues to be a village ram. And therefore, it continues along the same vein of I have to try to figure out where my ending point is, like what I'm trying to achieve with this book. One of the things I want to achieve for real is that I don't want it to be like the first book. So the first book was this maturation story. I have a completely different view of this. I think this one is going to be more like a thriller where Rain screws over the wrong girl and has to look over his shoulder. So watch out for that. So yeah, but I, again, because of how I think about my books, I have no idea where I'm going. I'm watching the characters, I'm writing it down, so I'm waiting for them to talk to me again, practically, and that's why I'm going to finish this. I'm only on chapter 8, so you have to wait a bit, but I'm working on it.
Where is the most, I should ask, biggest fan base or the biggest love coming from?
The US. Mainly because I think the internet is based in the US, like 80% of the internet, because I do a lot of my marketing using Facebook. And so Facebook, I have, when people have started to give an interest in my book, I put them into my secret Facebook group, and from there they interact with each other, they interact with me, and I've done a lot of interviews, online interviews and stuff like that with the poetry and as well as with my book. And Americans love a Bajan baritone accent, real talk. So I don't have to do much. Then when I put on the sexy on top of it, oh my God.
What does Passion Poet want to be remembered for, or what is it that he wants to leave behind?
I knew that question was coming because I watch all the time, but I was still like trying to figure out what I would say. I want to be remembered for, what do you expect? Passion. I want people to remember that I was passionate about everything I did. I want people to remember that I want my work to be intense. And I want you, when you experience my work, whether I'm here or after I am gone, that you have received a level of intensity that changes your life. I have, in my work especially, I write a lot of sensual material, but the goal, really the ultimate goal is for women to feel empowered and self-aware with their sexuality. Now, I know that some people will be like, use a man, why you even care? But for me, spirituality and sensuality are linked. So for me, when I am doing my best to idolize and deify you as the feminine within you, I'm doing my part for spirituality, to the universe. The first people always say the first god was a goddess or is a goddess, and for me, that's how I see every woman on the planet. I say that my writing is, I worship women with words, and that is what I want to be remembered for.
That has been Passion Poet. He has said a lot of passion here on the microphone today. Please go and check out all of his books, from poetry to prose. Where can we find you?
Okay, facebook.com/Erotic Empire. That's the brand imprint for the books. For the Passion Poet side is facebook.com/passionpoet246, one word. And on Instagram is Bajan Passion Poet. You see, that's and I think Twitter is just Bajan Poet. Now, I would just say that I did not go to marketing class where everything is the same thing, and they only thought about it after it was already done. So maybe I might rebrand and put everything as Passion Poet if I can. But that's what everything is.
And how you get your secret group?
Well, I guess just tell me. Just tell me, because it's a secret. Facebook police. So just tell me you want to enter. Actually, a good thing to do would be to join the Erotic Empire page, that the Erotic Empire page, and just send me a message. Yeah, just send me a message, and once I vet you and you're not a secret agent for Facebook or anything, they'll let you in.
Guys, go and check out Robert. As I said before, a fantastic author here in Barbados. He's giving you all the details on where to go and find his books, and him and the secret group if you want to go and talk more about sexuality around the world as well as in Barbados. Guys, it has been a pleasure, Robert.
Yes.
And we are going to see you somewhere sometime soon.
What's going on? They have fluffers.
Fluffers?
Yeah.
There are people who fluff?
Yes.
Sorry, I was Mr. Real Gem there.